Good morning. We're going to continue to talk about God's attributes, and we are going to discuss the attribute of omnipotence this morning. Omnipotence. Omni meaning all, potence or potency meaning power. A couple of preliminary things to mention. All of God's attributes work together. They're all in concert with His character. And that means that any attribute always manifests itself consistent with that character. He possesses it consistent with His self-existence. So when we talk about God's omnipotence, it means that He's always going to act in concert with His character first. And He has all power to act in concert with His character. That's why we can read things like God who cannot lie in Titus 1:2. We recognize that for Him to lie would be for Him to not be true, and that would be a violation of His character. Omnipotence, secondly, as a preliminary point. So first, it's always in concert with His character. Second, God has all power. He possesses all power, but He doesn't use all of His power all of the time. There's a difference between capacity and actuality, and we want to recognize that. And third, we want to recognize, because He operates in consistency with His character, that His power is not operated or actualized capriciously or whimsically or arbitrarily. It's always strategic in view of or in concert with His greater plan. Now, we can see the omnipotence of God in a bunch of texts. I want to give you two of them this morning to think about. Revelation 19:6, and this is John winding down that revelation, that vision, and he says, as the marriage supper of the Lamb is about to be consummated, he says, "Then I heard what seemed to be the voice of a great multitude, like the roar of many waters, and like the sound of mighty peals of thunder, crying out, 'Hallelujah! For the Lord our God, the Almighty, reigns.'" The Lord our God, the Almighty. When you see that title placed on God, you see it in the prophets a bunch. You see it here and in other places. That is a reference to the almighty power of God. And then another verse that's interesting on this subject, Matthew 19:26, right after Jesus has talked about the rich young ruler and how difficult it is for one to enter the kingdom of heaven, especially when they're focused on their own wealth and materialism. The disciples almost lament, they say, that who then can be saved at the end of 1925? And in 1926, Jesus says this. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Now this drives home omnipotence to us. And I want to leave you with this thought. The omnipotence of God is what made it possible to rescue you from your sin. The omnipotence of God is what makes possible the fact that no one is ever so far removed from God or His grace that He cannot extend that grace to them. It's the omnipotence of God when we face difficulty and trial and tribulation that we can appeal to and know whether He will or not, we know that He has the capacity to do that thing. And if He doesn't do it, if He doesn't respond, He has a good reason not to because of His other attributes. But we're not appealing to one who we hope can. We're appealing to one that we know can. I hope that encourages you today. Have a wonderful day.